Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, I am going to start teaching you conditional loops for paper 2 of AS, paper 2 of O level, as well as paper 4. Also includes this technique most of the time. So, what is a conditional loop? Conditional loops are the loops that are used for running some statements multiple times based on a condition. Okay, there are two types of conditional loops, which are while, do, and while, and repeat until. Before we proceed to conditional loops, you should remember one thing which is very much important. What is a condition? Condition is used in selection statements which are if and case. Condition includes three parts which are variable or a value, first part of condition, a relative operator, that is second part of the condition, and variable or a value, that is the third part of the condition. The example of this is A is equals to 2, 2 is equals to 4. Here variable is compared with a value. Here value is compared with a value. Then C or E is less than D. Here variable is compared with a variable. And you can also do 6 is greater than B. So this is value compared with a variable. These are all of your comparisons, and this is what a condition stands for. So always remember, condition has three parts: variable or a value, relative operator, and variable or a value. If you have forgotten or not attended my operators class, just for your reminder, I'm going to list down all the operators that are used for relations: equal sign, less than sign, greater than sign, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, and not equals to. These are all of your relative operators. Now let's proceed to while and while loop. While is a conditional loop in which the condition comes first. If we have a look at the while loop, here are 3 points. Have you been able to see all my lecture at the moment, Mr. Hussain? Okay. Everything that I wrote on the board, did you see it? Okay, good. So have a look at the while and while loop. So here are 3 main points. I hope you are able to understand and see them very much clearly. It is a conditional loop. The loop continues till the condition remain true. Okay, and the condition is checked first, then the process comes next. Like here, this is the syntax. Syntax is the format of writing any command or statement in programming paradigm. While comes, then a condition, then a do word. Now here in programming language, this do is not very much important. We can exclude do in programming language, but in pseudocode we generally write it. So while then a condition, then a do, then a statement that you want to repeat or continue or run multiple times on the base if the condition is true, because this loop says loop continues if the condition remain true. And then an end while. Here is an example: an algorithm to output name 10 times. The the statement that we want to run 10 times is this. This statement should be executed 10 times. So what we do is we declare a as integer and set its value to 0. And then we say while a is less than 10, do. Now, let me show you how it works. This is a statement that we want to run multiple times. Output and Ahmed. For that, we used to have while condition, while some condition comes here, and then do, and then end while. Since we have not used a condition anywhere here, so the statement, the program is incomplete. What I do is I declare a variable, and here I should write a condition. The condition should say something like the loop should start also and the loop should stop also on our demand. What I'm writing here is I'm writing while a is less than 10, do. Now see what happens. First of all, this line will be executed. According to this, a becomes 0. And after this line is supposed to be executed. So the trace table should say the next column should be a is less than 10. The next line is output and there should be something here. But at the moment we have these three statements in our algorithm. So what happens when I execute this program? When this command is executed, a was 0 initially. This condition according to a was true. What was a? A was 0 and 0 is less than 10. So 0 is less than 10. The condition is true. Ahmad will be output on screen. Then this goes back to while the value of A is still 0, the condition is still true, Ahmad will be output again. Again, this line comes to this line goes to while back again. A is still 0, condition is still true, Ahmad will be output again. This way, because the value of A is never changing, that's why the value of A will always remain 0, condition will always remain true, the loop will keep on running infinite number of times. Our question was to output Ahmed 10 times, so this purpose is not being served by this program. What we need to do is, we need to add an extra statement that will help out by incrementing the value of A. And that statement should say how to add or how to increment the value of A. That statement is A equals to A plus 1. This means 1 will be added to the value of A and will be restored in A. In your syllabus, instead of equal sign, this sign is used specifically to tell students that the value is being stored, the value of this is being stored here. But since this cannot be used in programming, that's why I generally use equal sign. Now this is the first statement, this is the second statement, third and fourth. And this is not included except to send the control back to while. Since fourth statement is here, we should have the fourth column also here. A equals to A plus 1. Now, initially the value of A was 0, condition was true, Ahmad will be output on screen, and then value of A which was 0, 1 will be added to it and it will be stored back in A. Now the value of A has become 1 because it was added with 0. The condition is again true because the value of A is 1, A is less than 10, the condition is true, Ahmad will be output again. Now the value of A was 1 and this 1 will be added to it, it becomes 2 stored in A, now the value of A becomes 2. This keeps on going. Now the value of A is 2 now. This one is added to it. It becomes 3. Condition is still true. M will be output. It keeps on going till 9. The condition is still true. M will be output again. A becomes 9 plus 1. It becomes 10 now. The value of A is now 10. 10 is not less than 10. That's why this condition becomes false. Nothing will be output. And from 0 till 9, you can see if you run the whole of all the statements 10 times, you will find out from 10 till 9, Ahmad was output 10 times. So if we start from 0, Ahmad is output 10 times. So what we want to study? While loop is not used for running or outputting a specific number of times, it is a conditional loop. But we have only discussed, we have only done this algorithm to understand how does the while loop work. I hope this cleared your concept of while. We will be doing some more programs on while, but meanwhile, I want to give an assignment. The question for this algorithm was output your name 10 times using while loop. Since you all know your names and I also know my name, that's why I did not have to take an input here. I directly use my name to output. That's it for the time. I will continue this lecture further on. Meanwhile, I need to ask a few questions. One thing. Now, always remember I told you that while is not used for a specific number of counts. Instead, while is used for conditional execution or conditional repetition. If we had to do this, we could have simply done this program. This was a simple program to output your name 10 times, and there was no need of increment like a equals to a plus number was not needed because the command of next automatically does it. This is the purpose of a for loop. If we know how many number of times we need to run something, we simply use for. While is not used for these type of works. While is used for tasks such as inputting conditional numbers, executing numbers on the basis of conditions, or something else. So we have a question here: input positive numbers and output their sum. This question automatically indicates that since we have to input positive numbers only, therefore the program or the loop should stop on any negative number, input or entry. So how does this work? We declare the variable num, and since we have to take out the sum also, we will use sum also, integer, while num is greater than or equals to 0, 2. And then we say sum equals to sum plus number, which is a totaling technique. I hope you remember this. And then input number. And then end while. Yeah, we can do that as well. But what will happen if we do that? I will explain you that. And then we output sum. Let's draw the value of one was num was 0, value of sum was 0, the condition was true. Sum became 0 plus 0 and nothing happened. And after this, when this line was executed, a number was input. Suppose the number was 5. Now the number is 5, sum is 0. Since number is 5, the condition is true because 5 is greater than 0. This is true. So what happened? Sum became 0 plus 5 and it became what? 5. Another number was input that could be any number. Let's suppose it was 65. Now the num is 65, sum is 5, condition is still true. Sum became 5 plus 65 and it became 70. Now, another number was input. Suppose it was minus 2. Number became minus 2. Sum was 70. The number is minus 2 and we are checking the condition number is greater than equals to 0. So the condition according to this number it is not true. Therefore the further statements will not run because when it went back from here to here the number that was input here was minus 2. This was checked here and number minus 2 greater than 0 is false. That's why these statements will not run because the loop only runs when the condition is true. Since the condition became false, this did not work. And when we output the sum here, the sum that we got was 70. So this made us do what? Only the positive numbers were added to the sum and the negative number was not input and added to the sum. If suppose we had used this statement here. So in this case, minus 2 was input here and then it was added to the sum that had changed the value of positive numbers. Do you understand this? That's why according to this algorithm, according to the question, we have to sum the positive numbers only. That's why we took the input out of the toting technique, after the toting technique. So that the input number if it gets negative entered it is not added to the sum and it goes back to while where it is checked and then it gets back this like the condition is checked first then the process is done. So since input number was minus 2 it went back to while checked did not approve it so the rest of the lines did not work. This is how the while loop works. In order to practice the while statement, there are a lot of techniques where while is used. We will be using while further on because most of our further questions and tasks actually need the while condition, while is repetition to be used. But to understand and practice while statement and have a good grip on it, here are the further things, here are the further questions that I suggest you to solve. You should write algorithm to output numbers. Oh, question. Output numbers using while loop and here are the numbers 1 through 10, 10 through 1, 1 till 13 odd numbers, 13 till 1 odd numbers only, 2 till 12 even numbers and 12 till 2 even numbers. These questions must be solved in pseudocode as well as in programming in order to understand the while loop. Now let me tell you how to use while in programming language. Let me solve this one for you. Is my screen shared with you? Okay, this is the program. Do this. Instead of declaring, we use dim here. I have a as integer while a is less than 10, and we need to output it console dot write line a. And since we already know that when the program starts, the value a will be 0. Condition will be true. If I output this here, 0 will be output in the first place. So before we output this statement, I will say a equals to a plus 1. In this way, increment will be done before the output, and therefore this will happen. The numbers are output from 1 till 10 because when the program started, the value of a was 0. We did add 1 to it and it became 1, then it was output only. Similarly, this keeps on going and it stops when it became 9. When it was 9, let's suppose 9 was output. When the 9 was output, it went back, a was less than 10, it became 10 here, it was output. Now it went back, a was out 10 here, it went back, a was 10, the condition became false, and this did not continue. That's why a was output from 1 to 10 using this statement. And that is how you use while and while in the programming technique. We do not use do here. Do is a different kind of a statement in programming language, so I will explain it to you later. But right now, I hope you have understood while and while loop here using pseudocode and using programming technique. That's all for the while loop, and we shall continue in the next class for repeat until loop. Uh, that's all for the while loop, guys. Thank you so very much. Please do post your comments and please a like, try to subscribe if you like this and if this lecture helped you out. Thank you very much.